And love is love, and hate is hate. To die is an awesome adventure, and I can hardly wait. Earth is a prison, I need a great escape. You know I'm in my zone when I'm up in outer space. You know I'm in my zone when I'm up in outer space. You know I'm in my zone when I'm up in outer space. You know I'm in my zone, you know I'm in my zone. I took a bite of the glory, I tell you how it tastes.
Hello.
This is a Quadruple Double podcast, and today we are going to talk about the all-star teams that we think should happen in the Eastern Conference. Just a quick note, these are the teams that we think should happen, not what will probably happen. And our next video will be about what all-star team we think is for the Western Conference.
Yeah, I mean, with the way all-star voting has always kind of been in a way a popularity contest.
Yeah.
Because
definitely.
there are people that always in their farewell tours make it, like Dwayne Wade's gonna make it guaranteed. Vince Carter has like 237,000 votes on the second return. Like, it's in a way it's kind of unfair to those people who actually deserve it.
But again, it's also only the starters are decided by have 50% fan vote. The reserves are actually picked by the coaches. So I do agree, like what you said, maybe about Dwayne Wade, but it depends what the coaches think. And another video that we're going to talk about is also whether Hall of Famers, like surefire Hall of Famers, should be all-stars in their last years.
Like
so
Kobe.
that will be one of our latest videos. Check that out
Yeah.
in a couple of weeks.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, let's get to it. So I'm going to start with 4 players that I think just missed the cut. First one's Josh Richardson. Miami, I think, is currently in the 7th or 8th seed, and that usually requires for them to have one All-Star. But I don't feel like there has been really one player that has really stood up. Josh Richardson has had a great season. That's no doubt about it. But his efficiency is a little low, and it's kind of come as a byproduct of there not being that much talent around. Also with Goran Dragic being injured. So, yeah, my second missed the cut is Pascal Siakam.
Oh God. What's your obsession with
It's
him?
nothing with him. I told you, he didn't even make the All-Star game. It's just that he's just missed the cut because he's.
His efficiency is strong and his PR is good, but that doesn't mean.
But his rate stats are also not that bad either. You know, they were All-Star. Al Horford last year. Al Horford averaged 14, 7, and 6, and he made the All-Star game.
Yeah, but he was off an injury replacement. He didn't make the All-Star game off like right away. He made it off an injury replacement.
Well, in any case, again, he just missed it, so that's it.
Just missed.
The next just missed player I have is Marcus Morris. He's been having a really, really great shooting year. I think he's been better than Jason Tatum this year, the second best player in Boston this year.
Marcus Morris.
Yes.
He's a bench player.
He's actually a starter, but
What? No.
No, he's a starter. You can search that up later. But 44% from 3. He's averaging more points than Jason Tatum and more boards.
But he's shooting a lot less shots. That's true.
That means he's shooting them more efficiently if he's still averaging more points.
But in actuality, he's not giving the ball in crunch time. He's on the bench in crunch time because he gets into foul trouble.
Actually, no. I'm not sure if you watched that game against Phoenix when he hit that game-winning 3, but
They were playing Phoenix. It shouldn't have been.
in any
crunch time
case,
against Phoenix.
my final player that missed the cut is Jason Tatum. Just so you know, I don't feel like either of them has still played well enough to be an All-Star even in the Eastern Conference. So, yeah, those are the players that I think missed the cut. What about you?
Well, I mean, there are a lot of players that I think could possibly make the All-Star game, like on the East, but some of them are just, because the East is so weak, some of them are just putting up empty stats, if you understand what I mean.
Yeah,
like, D'Angelo Russell doesn't deserve to be an All-Star.
Yeah, exactly.
He doesn't deserve it, but his numbers are actually decently strong.
Even though shout out to Brooklyn in the playoffs right now.
Yeah.
I'll give it to them.
I mean, players like Miles Turner is actually putting up pretty solid numbers, averaging 2.8 blocks a game. Like, that's solid defensively. He doesn't deserve to be an All-Star. He isn't even a just missed it, but the team revolves around Victor Oladipo. Thus, it's like he's just like a defensive piece, just like DeMontis Sabonis.
Okay, so
I don't really have anyone
that missed the cut.
Yeah, I mean, I guess you. Nah, I think it's good. I think that's it. What about your guards?
Well, actually, I'll start with my wild card first.
Ooh, yeah.
So, these 2 wild cards.
Wait, if for the viewers that don't know, essentially, there's the starters, then there are three guards and
No. Okay. The starters are two guards and 3 forwards,
Yeah.
and on the bench there's
Two
3
wild
forwards,
cards.
2 guards, and 2 wild cards, which can be any position. So yeah, my wild cards are 2 players that are real. I've been having great years, but I have them as wild cards mainly because their teams are playing well enough that they need 2 all-stars. So my first wild card is Ben Simmons. He's been playing really well this year. I just don't, sometimes he disappeared. He still hasn't developed a jump shot, which I think would really bring him to that next tier of superstar even, possibly. I know it's still early in his career and he still has time for that, but he's still not a good free throw shooter. He still can be turnover prone sometimes, but he's still an amazing player, an amazing passer for his size, and he's probably going to be a surefire all-star in the next couple of years, but for now, he's my first wild card. Second wild card, Chris Middleton. His stats are worse than last year, but the Bucks are playing so well that they have to have someone else than Giannis. So,
but the team revolves around Giannis. It's a Giannis, just like the Cavs when they didn't have Kyrie and Kevin Love was just like he wasn't that present, and essentially the offense ran through LeBron every possession. He had the ball in his hands. Chris Middleton is good. I'm not doubting that, but he's just a shooter. He's not.
well, as evidence when you're looking at his stats, 4 assists a game isn't bad. Again, stats aren't everything. Like you can't just use them by themselves. But he's hit some clutch shots. He had a slump earlier this year, but he's kind of gotten out of it. So, and this is again mainly because the Bucks need a second All-Star, based on how good they're playing. So those are my wild cards.
Okay, my wild cards are Ben Simmons as well. I mean, obviously he's been playing really good as in his quote unquote sophomore season, if you know what I mean. Like he's been playing pretty incredible. He has 19 triple doubles now in his career after the game he had last night.
Okay.
And he's been like the way he plays. I know although he needs to improve on his shooting like exponentially. Like he still can't shoot a 3 for his life. Teams are just setting off all the way to the free throw.
Yeah.
He's still an amazing passer, a solid rebounder, and he can drive in and score at will. So that's my first. My second though is Nikola Vucevic.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I mean the Magic, even though they only have a 17-24 record and they've lost 4 games in a row, Vucevic has been carrying that team. He has. I used to have him on my fantasy team. Basically, he has solid rebounding numbers. He's scoring decently efficiently at 1 second. Let me just check. But I know he's scoring.
He's averaging around 20 and 10.
Yeah, exactly, which is pretty solid numbers, and I think that deserves. Yeah, it's he's averaging 12 rebounds a game and 20 points off 57% field goal. That's really solid.
Yeah, I can't stress this enough how important stretch bigs are. And
yeah, exactly.
I have to say, I don't think in his career earlier he isn't exactly
expanding.
pulling a Brook Lopez, but
Yeah.
because he still did shoot some threes early in his career. But I do think he's really improved. He's still younger than most people think. I think he's
You shouldn't bring up Brook
29.
Lopez. Brook Lopez went 0 for 12 from 3 in like.
Okay, but that's a different question. That's a different topic.
That's like some John Starks.
Okay, but Brook Lopez also hit 8 threes in a game.
Yeah, but he
Okay.
also went 0 for 12.
In
which is
any
worse.
case, props to Nikola Vucevic. I'll just get he's one of my forwards on the bench.
Oh,
So when we
yes.
get to him, I'm sure Liv's already covered
Yeah.
him enough. So
Yeah.
so those are wild cards.
Okay, so we want to start with bench guards.
Okay, my 2 bench guards are Kyle Lowry and Victor Oladipo.
I got.
So Kyle Lowry, he's last month or 2, he's been injured. He's been playing inconsistently, but his early season start was amazing. His stats are.
Wasn't he leading the league in assists for?
He was. He's still second or third, even
Yeah.
though he hasn't been playing 100%. So his stats aren't like anything to scoff at right now.
14 points.
14 points, 4 boards, and 9.6 assists.
That's really
really good. They might not seem like all-star numbers, but he's the leader of the Raptors team. Kawhi Leonard's the best player, but Kyle Lowry is the leader of the team.
He's
And the Raptors
he's been
are
there for
just,
so long.
yeah, the Raptors are just better when he's playing or when he's just leading off and on the court. So yeah, that even though he's kind of slumped a bit, he still deserves to be in the All-Star game. Victor Oladipo hasn't had the season I thought he would have. I didn't expect an amazing improvement over last year. Last year was already an amazing improvement, but
He was the most improved player, correct?
yeah.
He
So I
deserved
think that
100%.
no, he deserved it definitely, but again, I can't. The Pacers really. He's been the number one guy, but he hasn't really separated himself. Like it's not that he's the number one guy on every single night. One time it could be Bojan Bogdanovic. Darren Collison could have 10 plus assists. Domantas Sabonis can go up. Miles Turner can block 5 shots.
Yeah.
So for Victor Oladipo, I just think that maybe the next cup before January 28th, which is when they select the All-Star team, if he starts playing much better, being more efficient, being more clutch, then maybe he could be one of the starters, but I still don't see that happening.
Yeah, I mean, but my 2 bench guards are the exact same color. Victor Oladipo. I mean, Victor's averaging almost 20 points a game, 6 rebounds, 5 assists, which is good, but compared to last year where he was averaging, 1 second, let me just look. He was averaging 23, he was averaging 4 and 5. He also scored a lot more efficiently last year, which he was shooting 53, and now this year he's barely shooting 50. 3% higher. I know that may not seem like a lot in retrospect, but the amount of shots he ends up taking. Oh.
Yeah, so essentially this year's kind of been a drop-off, but I still think he's playing at an all-star level, just not at a superstar level.
Well, I mean, you bring up Kyle Lowry, and although his win shares are decently, they're really solid at 3.7, his PER is actually worse than Victor Oladipo's by 0.7.
And that's just because Victor Oladipo has a greener light on the Indiana Pacers.
Yeah.
He is the number 1 option. He gets more shots up.
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
Yeah, so my bench forwards, Mike Muscala. I'm joking. Okay, I know.
Oh my gosh.
For all you viewers, I know you love watching Liv's reactions to me making jokes. So, Mike Muscala, okay player, but he's definitely not an all-star. So
okay player. He's barely.
Okay. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter anymore. So bench forwards: Nikola Vucevic, whatever. Blake Griffin. He's playing really well. This is possibly the most complete season of his career. Scoring, not the best, but it is his most complete season this far. And Andre Drummond has been on and off, and no one else on the Pistons has done anything important. So Blake Griffin has been carrying the Pistons. I remember that game against I think the biggest game, the best game of his career was that game against Philadelphia when he had 50 points in that game-winning and one. So, but also the forwards for the starters have still been playing better. So he's a 100% bona fide all-star, but he won't get enough votes, and he's not playing as well as the starters. So I have him there.
I have Blake Griffin as well in my reserves. I mean, he actually at the beginning of his career and through when he got that 5-year massive
max contract,
he actually was considered somewhat overrated. Now I feel like he's kind of underrated. I mean,
he plays for the Pistons. When he played for Lob City is first of all, they play in Los Angeles.
Yeah.
They're a fun team, and they did well. Detroit didn't do really well last year, and this year they're only making the playoffs because they're in the Eastern Conference.
And the East is so weak. But I mean,
it's not so weak anymore. Okay, there's still some teams. I do agree that it's a weaker conference, but okay. Final forward, Jimmy Butler.
Same. I have Jimmy Butler.
Yeah, I think you talk about him.
I mean, Jimmy G buckets. What more to say? Although he had some struggles with chemistry, and he's going to have struggles wherever he goes. He's a pretty egotistical guy, in my opinion.
No, but one thing I really like about Jimmy Butler is his work ethic and his ability to be a leader. Because Embiid is a really, 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 really good player, but he's still young. I haven't really seen him show any leadership qualities. And for every single playoff team, for teams that want to have a chance that can have a chance to win a championship, you need a leader or 2 leaders or people that can lead, show an example. If they're on fire and they start involving their teammates, then it essentially becomes unstoppable. So Jimmy Butler has that leadership quality. I do think chemistry issues just result because he's never really played in a situation where he has Joel Embiid, who I think is taking 18 shots a game.
Yeah.
I know he maybe had that situation with Derrick Rose 1 year, but Derrick Rose wasn't prime Derrick Rose.
No, but you have to think about it this way. Jimmy Butler, when you talk about his work ethic, he entered the league as I think he was the last pick in the first round.
He was unranked in high school, and he barely got recruited by any schools.
He was homeless at 13. You know that story?
Yeah.
He was literally homeless.
Check out was it Andy Hoops?
Yeah, Andy Hoops.
Andy Hoops, great YouTube channel. He made a great video about Jimmy Butler's story, so check him out. Andy Hoops is his YouTube handle.
He's just sponsored. But like basically, he in his first year he played 42 games and only averaged 2.6 points. Second year played all 82, got 8.5, and then from there there's just been a slow. There's been an increase in points like almost every year.
Yeah,
to
definitely.
the point where he was averaging 21 in 2018, 2019.
Yeah, and that couple years ago, at 24 points a game.
Yeah.
So essentially, Jimmy Butler, kind of the same situation as Blake Griffin.
Yeah.
Playing at an all-star level, but the starters have just been better. So who's your? So I know you had Jimmy Butler,
And I had and Blake Griffin, but you know
so who's
who
your
I have?
third bench forward?
I know you might disagree with this, but I have Andre Drummond.
Okay, that's a stretch.
No, look,
So you're giving the Pistons 2 All-Stars.
but I'm not giving the Milwaukee Bucks 2 because look at
No,
Andre
it's not
Drummond.
about the Bucks, but 2 All-Stars. They're not. One of them is not even a wild card.
Andre Drummond is averaging 15 rebounds a game. Name anyone else in the league who's even close to that.
Hassan Whiteside.
Hassan Whiteside is not close. The problem with Hassan Whiteside though is that he's not really that skilled anywhere else. He blocks shots, yeah, but he doesn't really score that efficiently.
Drummond, last year he was definitely an all-star, but this year it's kind of just been there. Like, we know he's always been a good rebounder, but has he done anything else? He's still kind of young. He can still make that jump. Last year he was an all-star, but he wasn't. He was no way a starter, and he was almost a wild card, even though I think he made it in as a bench forward. And he hasn't changed anything this year. He actually had a worse year than last year, so I don't see how he could be an all-star.
Of course he has a worse year than last year. Blake Griffin's now cementing his role as the number 1 scoring option. Of course he's going to have a worse year. Blake Griffin's averaging 25, so even though Blake Griffin's averaging 25, his points per game has gone up since last year by 1.7 points, from 15 points to 16.7.
But it's if you talked earlier about empty stats, that's empty stats.
How is it empty stats?
It's empty stats.
They're a playoff team. How is it empty stats?
They're barely in the playoff range, and again, the fact that you're not giving Milwaukee 2 All-Stars.
Milwaukee is just Giannis and a bunch of shooters. It's like.
And how has that turned out for them? How has that turned out for them?
What do you mean? How has that turned out for them? Literally, if it wasn't for Giannis, then they wouldn't be.
You want to compare Andre Drummond and Chris Middleton? You can do that.
Chris Middleton is literally just he sits in the corner and waits for Giannis to pass him the ball. Chris Middleton is over.
For all you real NBA fans, watch some Bucks games because Chris Middleton is not just a shooter.
I'm not denying.
You want Malcolm Brogdon. Malcolm Brogdon can be just a shooter and a great, but he also takes a bunch of layups. If you want Brook Lopez is just a shooter. Brook Lopez is literally just a shooter. But Chris Middleton is not just a shooter, and
he's shooting 38% from 3, 43% from the field. That is not all-star numbers. And furthermore, his PR isn't even that good at 16.4, and his point per game.
But player efficiency rating is also depends on how many minutes you play and the stats you get.
He plays high minutes.
31.3, and Andre Drummond plays 33 because you can check that.
Yeah, I know.
So his PR would most likely be higher. Also, rebounds are very
favorable,
and
I get that.
to centers and in player efficiency rating. So I have nothing against Andre Drummond, but he does not deserve to be an All-Star this year.
Chris Middleton doesn't deserve to be an All-Star.
Okay. So now let's just get to the starters because I think we have the same starters.
Exact same starters, probably.
Point guard, Kyrie Irving.
Yep.
No, Boston's still in playoffs. Kyrie Irving's still amazing. He's shooting efficient from all over the court. He's still the best ball handler in the NBA. Enough said.
Yeah.
Right?
Second guard, you gotta go Kemba.
Kemba Walker.
Yeah.
He's kind of slowed down a little bit, but that's just because of the load he was.
Yeah.
That's just because of the load he was carrying.
I mean, cardiac Kemba. Do you remember that shot he hit against UConn when he was with UConn?
Yes.
Like the stuff he does and how underrated he actually is as a 6'1" guard who's averaging 25 points a game. Like no one gives him enough respect.
Yeah, definitely. I remember a lot. Like people are saying he should finally be an All-Star. He was finally an All-Star last year.
Yeah.
But this year, even because it's not that the Eastern Conference has been weaker than last year, it kind of is, but also the guards themselves.
Yes.
I can't really think of any amazing guards that went to the West, other than Point LeBron. But yeah, so I think that he just deserves it. He's worked so hard. He has one of the most unstoppable step back threes. I know it's not the James Harden level, but he's still
The
just
James
off
Harden-
of these. He's not that athletic. He's not tall at all, but he's
6'1".
strong.
That's I know that's under.
But for point guards now, point guards average height is probably 6'3" by now.
Yeah, it is
Curry
6'3".
is 6'3". So
And he even seems like undersized when he
Yeah,
plays.
but
So,
he's.
like,
And also, I just love watching him play. So I can't help but put him in.
I mean, you talk about the James Harden step back.
Okay, but that we'll get into that when we talk about the Western Conference
yeah.
All-Stars. Small forward Kawhi Leonard.
Yep.
Same. We're both Raptors fans. Well, I'm also Spurs fan, but
I'm also
other than that, Kawhi Leonard is still playing really well. The only knock that might not make him a starter, even though it's very stupid, is the fact that he hasn't played as many games.
And he doesn't play back-to-backs.
I think he has started to.
No,
I'm
he's
not
going
sure.
to. Nick Nurse said, he just came out like online. I saw this article a couple days ago that after the month of January he's going to start playing back to backs. So, I mean, he's still getting back into it. I don't even know how to explain what happened with that injury.
Oh, that was.
Yeah.
You know what?
You're a Spurs fan.
As a Spurs fan,
yeah.
it's not that I would know because no one knew.
Yeah.
I blame Uncle Dennis.
Uncle Dennis, the poor guy.
Okay,
He took
but
so much heat.
he deserves it. In any case, still putting up.
Yeah.
And if you were to think of an MVP in the late '90s, like before Shaq was and Michael Jordan was in the tail end of his career, Kawhi Leonard's numbers could have been MVP worthy. They'd be MVP worthy in any era. However, you got guys like James Harden, Giannis. So
James Harden's
I don't
putting up
see-
Kobe numbers.
I know.
He's literally getting the Mamba mentality.
I don't see Kawhi Leonard winning MVP, but he's still an All-Star, All-NBA team, All-Defensive team. Could be Defensive Player of the Year, but that's too early to tell.
For the two forwards, you got to put Captain Giannis Antetokounmpo. I mean, right here,
Oh,
this guy, if not first, if not second in MVP tracker.
Well, it's him and Harden in whichever order you want to say.
Yeah. Actually,
Giannis
no,
has
sorry,
been-
no, LeBron.
Okay, live. Take a deep breath. Rethink your life choices, and let's continue.
Okay.
Giannis Antetokounmpo has been
it's my
nothing
guy
short
right
but amazing.
Yeah.
And picture for any people who are watching this right now and don't have a wide knowledge of the NBA, think Shaq with handles that can score, is a much better passer.
And has a decent jump shot.
Not exactly. He
His
should have stopped taking threes, but his jump shot.
Oh, yeah.
The last couple of games has been better though. I remember there was one.
His 3-point percentage is 16%.
But yet his field goal percentage is still 58 because he is amazing around the rim. So
His
he's actually.
finishes, like you see somebody's.
I know, it's
he's
insane.
He's so lanky, and he can just
He's on pace to shatter the single season dunks record, and it's not like he's 7 foot, 7'2",
Well, he
350 pounds like Shaq.
He is 6'11", 242.
Yeah, but he's so athletic and lanky. He can the only flaw is his shooting. But he's not like Ben Simmons that sometimes it can be that bad.
It's embarrassing with Ben Simmons. It's
Okay.
not that embarrassing with him.
But the thing about Giannis is that you know that Giannis, he can't really have a really, really bad game because once he gets closer to the rim, he's unstoppable.
You can't
He's
stop
unstoppable.
It. Exactly.
So honestly, I'm really proud because I love watching the Bucks. I have two players I really like on the Bucks, including him.
Who do you think is underrated? Eric Bledsoe.
Eric Bledsoe.
I think when the trade went from Phoenix and Greg Monroe and all that crap, that happened.
Yes.
I think that Eric Bledsoe actually although he's had like an underperforming couple years, he is a very solid player. And when he was on the Clippers in his beginning years, do you know?
Yeah, I can remember.
Okay.
But in any case, we have the consensus that Giannis is 110% All-Star and the captain.
And
final player,
Joel
Embiid.
The process. Yeah.
So again, as I talked about him earlier, this All-Star game is still a popularity contest, and he is very, very popular. But it's also you got to back up the smack talk.
Yeah.
With
he does though.
Playing. And he does. He's
he
amazing.
He torches Andre Drummond every time.
He's amazing.
Smash. You see his Instagram post? The guy literally.
Yes, I know. But this is not about tweets.
No, I know. But the thing about Joel Embiid is he is like a living. He starts media outblast. Like in the draft. When there was a draft, the Sixers sent him as the representative, and he was drinking a Shirley Temple talking about Rihanna.
Oh yeah, I know.
Like
Joel
that guy's
Embiid,
a legend. Come
Joel
on.
Embiid is a legend. Sometimes he does seem a little bit immature, but he's still young. So that's
it.
Who you think should be our Eastern Conference All-Stars? I know there were some conflicting opinions, Mike Muscala, but yeah. So next video we'll probably send it a week later with our Western Conference All-Stars.
Yeah.
Tune in because that's going to be even more controversial.
Yeah, and thank you for tuning in. Episode 2, that's a wrap.
told you